Hey, friends. Good morning and welcome to this live conversation this early morning Saturday. My name is Mr. Selfcare from Mr. Selfcare Initiative, and we want to thank you for being with us today. We are going to have a special conversation this morning, one that is so personal, one that is so intentional, and we are going to host a special group of people from a special organization called Nafophanu, which so many people call the home of champions. They are going to tell us their story, they are going to tell us who they are, and actually what they do and why their story matters today. Today, on this channel, we are privileged because we are going to open doors to this special organization. For people that are asking me what Nafophanu means, this is the National Forum of People Living with HIV/AIDS Networks in Uganda. Indeed, this is a true home of champion because it is a home where resilience, hope, and community leadership come together to transform lives. For many years, this organization has stood at the center of Uganda's community-led HIV responses, amplifying the voices of people living with HIV, strengthening different networks within, fighting stigma, and ensuring that no one is left behind. But beyond the structures, programs, partnership, there is something even more powerful. That is the story that this organization has been able to write in the hearts of Ugandans and the countries around. Because every statistic is a person, behind every program is a life changed, and behind every achievement is a champion who refused to give up. This morning, we are not just sharing information, we are sharing identity, purpose, and impact. We want to tell a story so that the world can understand why it matters, why it must continue, and why support for such an organization and mission is more important than ever before. We invite you to listen, to reflect, to engage, and be part of this journey, because this organization is more than an organization. This is a movement. And we are talking about the home of champions. On stage, on my panel today are two different people. One is Canon Reverend Gideon Byamugisa. Sir, you're most welcome for our discussion.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay. We are having Flavia. Flavia, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good night, viewers. We are glad to be here. Thank you, Mr. Selfcare, for hosting us today.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening. And Madam Salome Atim. Madam Atim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay. Good morning, viewers. Thank you so much for organizing for this event.
Okay. Okay. So that is the discussion that we are going to have this morning. I'll start with Mr. Gideon or Reverend Canon, Reverend or Reverend Canon. You'll correct me. I don't know which one comes.
Let's call me Canon Gideon.
Tell us what you do.
Let's go by Canon Gideon.
What your role is, and then we shall start from there.
Oh, thank you very much, Sir Kenya. I'm Canon Professor Gideon Bagoma Byamugisa. I am a founder member of National Forum of PHA Networks in Uganda. I'm also the founder chair of the same organization. I represent people of faith who are living with or most burdened by HIV in the forum. We also have a smaller network that feeds into Nafophanu called Uganda Network of religious leaders living with or personally affected by HIV. Again, I'm the founder member. I'm so happy to be here to discuss our journey from that time when we felt we should come together and forge a common voice around issues of stigma, shame, denial, discrimination, inaction, and misaction around AIDS. And I'm so happy that 33 years later, 34 years later, there is an impact, like you have said in your introduction. We can see impact in people's lives, but also in people's in response policies in the country.
Reverend, to start with, for viewers joining us today, who is Nafophanu and what does it mean?
Well, I think that is a question that our coordinator, national coordinator, can answer very well. I will just say that it is a national forum of people with HIV/AIDS networks in Uganda. It's a collection of networks at the local, community, and national level. But what it does and what it stands for, I would defer that to our coordinator, because that's part of her job to explain who we are.
Okay. Madam, okay, I apologize for that. Madam Solomon team, first of all, good morning and thank you so much for being with us today. Can you introduce yourself to our viewers and what you do?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, viewers all over the world. Salome is my name. I'm the board chairperson for Nafophanu. So what I do is to help coordinate the board to support Nafophanu achieve our goal as an entity.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Flavia, over to you.
Yes.
Who is Flavia and what do you do on this team?
Thank you very much, Mr. Selfcare, Mr. Selfcare. You have a nice name of Selfcare. I am Chomkama Flavia, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Forum of People Living with HIV and AIDS Networks, Uganda, Nafophanu. Nafophanu is a 23-year-old. We started in 2003. Having come up to see how we can get organized as communities of people living with HIV, we felt we needed to come together to share our challenges, to share our coping skills, to share. At that time, there were no ARVs. At that time, we were grappling with living with HIV, grappling with using our limited resources to be able to live longer and healthy lives. So in 2003, we organized various organizations, including the different support groups that we had, and institutions like TASO was part of them. We had the AIDS Information Center, we had MAUDME, we had Uganda AIDS Commission and UNAIDS as a center. They supported us to get organized into one umbrella. And the purpose for Nafophanu was not to go and draw blood, no, but to bring the lived experiences and to reaffirm the greater and meaningful involvement of people living with HIV. We were organized into a group of a leadership of a community that would join the policy and policy budget and advocacy forums to see how we inform whatever programs and interventions were being developed and planned so that they would be able to work. At the same time, we were part of the various trainings, and we thought now we needed to have an umbrella that would support to strengthen the different champions, the different support groups, the different networks of people living with HIV, like those of the women, men. We had positive men's unions at that time. We had the National Committee of Women with HIV in Akola. We had positive women leaders. We had National Coalition of Women. We had the Friends of Canon Gideon. We had professional people living with HIV. We had teachers against AIDS. We had so many. And the young people, we had the young positives. And at that moment, we needed to garner and have our story written together so that we can share in the different spaces from a joint voice. We might not have had one single voice, but we had to have a joint collective advocacy. Each of us was aspiring for something different. As women, we were aspiring for prevention of gender-based violence, access to services, our children going to school. Men were grappling with dealing with HIV and the stigma that comes with it, especially the fact that it was built on people who were HIV positive at that time were seen as having never abstained, never been faithful, or never used condom. But we needed to see how to engage. Teachers were being chased from schools, and children of people with HIV were also finding a lot of stigma in the communities, in the schools. And so we came to say, look here, we are able to live, we can live better lives, and we are going to influence and facilitate government programming. And so our bit was to strengthen the capacity of people living with HIV networks, individual leaders, like we had, of course, like the Major Luaramira Ruranga, Canon Gideon, Beatrice Were, we had Mire Katanas. They were already there, Jane Mirumuvi. They were there already, Captain Taugende. They were there already speaking as individuals and in different groups, but we thought we could have an organized one, we would have an umbrella that would be delegated to represent and participate in high-level advocacy and ensure that the issues of people living with HIV and their stories were brought to the table. The other bit was about collecting knowledge and ensuring that this knowledge we collected and gathered from communities was not just mere hearsay, but was true community stories and what was happening in the communities to inform the ongoing programming, the research. We were also part of research programs. And so we came together to say, how do we now protect ourselves and build research and be part of research programs without being hurt or without being, getting adverse effects, without being informing the researchers, the investigators about what was going on. The other bit was about ensuring that we were constantly in places, constantly mobilizing the communities. We would tell our stories, and that was the main. We built community strength and resilience and built confidence in all those who are HIV positive, that they could live because we were living positively. So we taught each other how to live, how to cope, how to, we would even refer each other to the health facilities, mobilize each other for available economic programs, available social support programs for our children. We had a lot of community work, treatment adherence, education. We would, for those who are taking medication, we would encourage them to make sure that the medication they were taking it well, so that they get well. If they had malaria or if they had STIs, we even engaged on a daily, on a weekly. We were friends. If people were sick, we would pick one of us from our organization to even go to bedside sit in the hospital because they were part of us. So we encouraged each other to live positively, healthy, with dignity, and of course continued to prevent transmission. And so that's how we came. And we came because we felt we were a critical partner in managing the HIV response, but also ensuring that transmission is curtailed. If we were informed and champions indeed, we would ensure that no new infections would happen, especially from us who are already informed, who are educated, and we would continue to mobilize. And at the moment, we have mobilized, I think about 1.3 million Ugandans are already on treatment because we mobilized them, we educated them, and they were freely getting treatment. But we still have right now a big proportion of about 200,000 who are not yet in care. We have about 200,000 or 6% of those in care who are already initiated on treatment who are not seen. They have been lost to follow up. And these are again presenting with the AIDS, the actual disease now. They started treatment, dropped off, and the reasons are, and which had brought us to come up and speak openly and discuss, as stigma. And we know that many of our community members, the young ones, those who are criminalized, those who are in workplaces, they fear to say or even to be seen at the facilities. That has even been worsened by the integration that the standalone clinics for TB and HIV have been closed. So we continue, and at that moment we were coming up to say stigma should stop, because it stops people from accessing services and stops people from preventing. And we said we needed to prevent from the positives. And so that's how we were started in 2003. And since then, we have moved to 135 districts. Wherever there is a district, we have a district forum. We may not have a fully fledged office, but we have a coordinator in the district. There are those which are old, who have lived for the 23 years. There are those who are initiated now because of the formation of new districts. We have 18 national networks, including women, men, teachers, religious leaders. Canon is here. We have a cross-section, young people. We have teachers. We have people in home-based care, musicians. We have a cross-section, so they are 18. And then we also have lately got 10 cities. We used to have only one Kampala Capital City Authority, and now we have moved to the regions. We have an additional 9 cities where we have contact persons, and with resources and also with support from the different district local government support teams, we should be able to have coordinators fully fledged in those districts and even in the new districts. I don't know, yeah. So we have been here for 23 years. We are proud to say we are still alive, those of us, but we are also, this is next month, in May, we'll be commemorating candlelight. We know many of us have died. Some of them died before treatment because of stigma, because of sickness, and the fear of the unknown. And we know that came with a lot of thinking that, what happens whenever a person gets HIV, people start stigmatizing, the people didn't know what to do. They were helpless. The government as well didn't have so much for us except education and that drumming. But we also know there are those who have died later on. ARVs have come, but they have not been the magic bullet. We know that there are those who have taken it and have got side effects. But we also know that when ARVs came, the people thought it was the magic bullet. But we realized that ARVs come with their complications, and we had not anticipated that. So some of us are passing on because of the side effects. They struggle to take medicine every day for life, as we are told. The side effects, the stigma still persists. And also we are seeing post-COVID that we are losing a number of our champions. And post-COVID, we have had another epidemic of the funding cuts. And you know how it has also complicated the livelihoods of people living with HIV, and especially our leaders and champions who are finding it difficult. It was a source of livelihood. The little they were getting to do community mobilization, to mobilize, to be in meetings where they gain kind of support. Our helpline stopped a bit because we didn't have money to facilitate it. We also couldn't because we were cut short of resources. And at the same time, like last year, the office space we had been given by Uganda AIDS Commission, the lease ended. It had been given by Church of Uganda. The lease of Church of Uganda offered to USC ended. And so we had to leave. We are practically closed, the physical, but we are working online. And 1 or 2 of us sit at the Uganda AIDS Commission. So the issue now is that we would like to sustain our community mobilization, our psychosocial support. We need to coordinate ourselves to engage in advocacy and ensure that the ongoing budgeting and other practices happening, other discussions happening, that we are at the center. But we need to have a presence, and the presence requires that we have a budget, resources, we have a home. And this home of champions is not only just heads, but we need a roof on top of ourselves, so that we are able to manage better, coordinate better, engage better, and also mobilize our communities better for healthy and longer lives. Over to you, Mr. Selfcare.
Madam team, first of all, thank you so much for honoring our late invitation to be here with us. What is, as the chairman of Nafophanu, what is the core mission and vision that drives this organization? You can unmute yourself. Yes.
So what drives this organization is the desire to see that people living with HIV lead healthy lives, are able to contribute to the society they live in, but also to the nation. So ensuring that people are living positively is critical to Nafophanu. And for individuals to live positively, we must eliminate stigma and discrimination. We must eliminate gender-based violence. We must eliminate poverty, because we know how poverty affects even access to HIV services. For example, you come from one district to another to go for medical care, or from a far distance, just the lack of transport has failed some people from picking medicines on the days they're supposed to pick. Then stigma and discrimination is the other. There are some of colleagues in offices that do not understand. When an officer, police officers, teachers ask for permission to go to the healthcare, they are denied. So it is things like this that Nafophanu is trying to eliminate, to ensure that people are living positively. That is making sure that they are adhering, they are not experiencing any human rights violations, they are able to live productive lives, to take care of themselves, their families, and also to contribute to the nation's building.
Reverend, over to you. I know you should be involved with a lot of other organizations, maybe who have similar goals, similar mission. What makes this organization Nafophanu unique in HIV response compared to all the other organizations that we have in the country that tend to deal with the same issues or challenges?
Thank you very much. What makes Nafophanu unique is that it brings a unique truth to the experience and reality of HIV/AIDS in Uganda. We say that truth has many dimensions, but there is a dimension that will never be seen or heard or experienced until you experience it. So the fact that there is a national forum that brings together the voices, experiences, life stories of people living with HIV is a unique response, because without that truth of the people who are themselves living with the disease and all the virus, then government policies, programs, partnerships, messages may struggle to be effective and impactful if that voice is absent, if that experience is absent. So we are a critical resource partner. We are a critical partner in the national response. whether we are talking about fighting stigma and discrimination, whether we are talking about ending inequalities of access to services for prevention and care, for testing, for empowerment, whether we're talking about issues of inclusion and respect for human rights, whether we're talking about participation and accessibility, all those issues, the voice of Nafophanu makes them richer. It makes them more pertinent and more real for communities, agencies, and government to engage with. So the personal voice, the experience of us, when someone tells a story that puts a human face on the statistics, then it becomes more real. It becomes more real. Like when I say I'm Canon Gideon, I'm a person living with HIV for 34 years now, then people begin engaging with that. It removes AIDS from being an academic or an abstract challenge and brings it closer home. Like now I'm a religious leader, so it makes it a reality for religious faith communities. I am a family man, so it makes it real now for my family and fellow family community family members and elders. I am also a professional, so that makes it even more pertinent for professionals to engage with it. So really, there is no alternative for the experience of people living with HIV/AIDS in bettering and perfecting our responses to end AIDS by 2030.
Wow. Over to you, Flavia. Flavia, can you share us a powerful story that shows Nafophanu has really transformed life since its inception? Because our viewers would love to know. We've had so many HIV/AIDS organizations in Uganda, and actually, when I was preparing up for this program, I was reading Uganda has more than 134 almost. Some are known to some villages alone that even maybe you even don't know they exist. But I mean, we've had a lot of people set up organizations, some of them for the right reasons, some of them for the wrong reasons, because I mean, there was a time when HIV was, if whoever wanted to make money had to jump on something to do with HIV. So in that, so many stories have come, both bad and good, because I mean, different people say different things for different reasons. But when I was reading about the stories of Nafophanu, indeed I saw an organization that is full of champions. Now, I come from the born-again sector of the reef. And there, it is as if we don't have anyone living with HIV. It is very hard to see anyone come out in particular to say, I'm HIV positive and I'm living this. That means we are either there and living in denial. In other words, to me, I've not seen an organization that is so open as Nafophanu when it comes to coming and say, oh, we are happy, we are living with HIV, and it is possible to raise a family. Where I come from in the born again, I don't know if we are still casting demons to eventually to come out positive, but I've not seen that come out. And to me, it gives Nafophanu a special place in my heart, because I think they live the real life. Because I always tell the young people, yes, I am a born again person, I believe in God, but if you're positive, first take your drugs before we pray for salvation or we pray for healing. The prayer should be that God will help you take these drugs, that they do what they are supposed to do on you, and not the opposite. Flavia, tell us a powerful story that you remember of how Nafophanu has been able to transform life. I also want in that story to include you being involved in the trials that you went through as a person to bring about the privileges that people are enjoying today when it comes to treatment of HIV.
Thank you so much, Mr. Selfcare, and thank you, Canon. Gideon and my board chair, Salome. The story, I'm going to intertwine the story into the organizational and the individual so that maybe you can pretty well understand where we come from. As a people living with HIV, like Canon has already alluded and Salome has, we are the reason we have the HIV response because the virus lives in our bodies. And right from the word go, whatever was happening when the president came and said, let us be open, he was saying, those of us who are in leadership, let us talk about the presence of HIV. He was also telling families, let us be open and support people living with HIV. But he was even telling us to emulate Fidel Taya. Fidel Taya came in a year or two later after the president has shared that the, oh my God, my neighborhood, Saturday, apologies. So Fidel Taya came up to say, I'm HIV positive, look here. We need to share experiences, show what we are going through so that others don't go through the same challenges as we are going through. And so it was indicative of the fact that there were people living with HIV or people having the HIV virus in their bodies. And we do know at that time, as people living with HIV, they were being tested on various herbs. I do recall at that time, Cameroon, many of my village mates or elders died of Cameroon. They were very rich. They could afford to buy Cameroon at that time. I think it was being got from Kenya. But many died because of its side effects. But those side effects and the death that happened also informed the development of better and less toxic medication. And these same medications were also tried on many of us. So people like me, because we were in groups or associations of people living with HIV, in the post-test clubs, Nakola, Fidel Taya Initiative, TASO, we were the primary respondents in most of the tests and the operational research that was happening. And so my personal testimony about being one of those who informed research, I do recall, and I want to say the story is that today, moving from over 50,000 babies born with HIV in the early 2000s to now 4,700 is a story that is joined by the government, by partners, by stakeholders, but by us ensuring we mobilize women and girls living with HIV, mobilizing partners of these women, mobilizing families to ensure they support and protect the women, and also informing the programmers that we needed to be supported to deliver HIV negative children. And it takes me, as Flavia, to be in the clinic in Mulago in 1994-95, when the first trial on prevention of mother-to-child transmission across Africa was happening here in Uganda. And from that time, we have moved from prevention of PMTCT A+, B, and we have even gone now to infinity, that it should be a whole community effort, but the individuals are sensitized, encouraged, and take the medications to ensure they are healthy and that their unborn and newborn are protected from HIV. So we were being got, or the respondents were mainly being got from the organizations or networks of people living with HIV. And up to now, I also would like to share that in the same year, in 94, I was part of that program that tested oral TB treatment, because at that moment there used to be only injectables. But I was on that program that led to the current oral regimen for TB. Remember, I used to get 60 injections. Those ones who are not HIV positive would go down in the leprosy clinic and they would be injected. Who are HIV positive, we were told there is a trial, and it has been proven to be efficacious, and it is the medication, the rifampicin, isoniazid, and all that. We have informed that research. We put there our bodies so that others can live. And we continue to put our bodies through our networks, our support systems, so that others can live. And therefore, Nafophanu as a national forum, we get organized, get those stories, compile them, and use them to inform government, inform our relatives and friends, inform. And then also the other research I was on is the development of the antiretroviral treatment. It was started around 2003, and it was in Uganda and Zimbabwe. And I'm glad to say that zidovudine, lamivudine, and tenofovir, the drug which we were tested on, is now, which is being used nationally, using at the African level, and is saving lives. But it took a lot of energy and strength. All of us know that taking ARVs isn't simple, but took a lot of energy and strength. And we encouraged each other. And we encouraged each other to say the drugs we are having are toxic. We monitor the quality as Nafophanu. We follow up what are the adverse events. Then we report to the facility, or we link to Ministry of Health. We monitor whether there are stocks, where there are stockouts. We inform government and we say, look here, we started on these drugs. We were told they are for life. Now people don't have this drug. And we have seen this recurrent in the previous in the previous year. We have had stockouts for second and third line. And we are, we continue engaging to say, where is the medication? And we know we had disruptions last year. And as Nafophanu, we have continued to engage as communities through our groups and networks. We inform, we get information and inform government, we inform the global, and we are not only limited to Uganda. Canon can tell you he's been globetrotting, sharing his experience, changing lives in the religious sector. Salome has also been here moving around with Engendering Gender International, which is her maiden organization, talking about data governance. How do we ensure that we have the data, we are protected, we have privacy, and those issues are coming even now with integration. Is our data protected? Can we access our data? Can we transfer our data? Can we engage and discuss our own data? As the people who are seeking services, how do we engage the facilities and the government to ensure that we access our information for better? But we also have one particular and very important thing I would like to say is that we know the epidemic more than anyone else. We are a truth. We are an experience. We are the people who the medications are targeted for. And so it is us who are doing all it takes to ensure that we move. The medicines can be in facilities, but our role to ensure that we mobilize ourselves, we keep on treatment, we adhere, we keep our children in school despite the stigma, we study the stigma and go and sensitize communities about the implications of stigma, that we even have withstood violence but continue to engage many providers to ensure that we have better lives. For instance, me, I was violence at that time, and I was able to go to Nakola, and they would come me, do this, do that, don't do this, and we have lived. At the moment, we used to ask, I think Canon Gideon can ably explain his experience, and Salome, that we would ask for 2 years, give me 2 years to see my child grow and go to nursery. But right now, because we have embraced the virus and we have said we'll live together, we can live long and have become an experience. People call us at 2 a.m. Who works like that except for the doctors? And we are the public service that is not fully recognized. that is has been disrupted. We know government means well for us to get services, but our role cannot be underscored more. And our story is a story that we live it, we have experienced it, we have seen it, we have tested the treatment, we have known where it works and where it doesn't work. And we have also known that we can inform government and they listen. And by listening to our stories, we have made this a different season. And my grandson, you know, they try to limit him, but this is also another story that we have lived with our HIV delivered daughters who are HIV negative, and we have delivered even another generation of HIV negative children. We know there are 4,700 still being born, and this is why we need resources for Nafophanu, so that we continue to mobilize and we have generations which are free. And we would like to see HIV end with us. So our story is, tell the story, let people come, learn what HIV is about, ensure that they take their treatment well, their families support them, and then they are able to stop transmission in what we call positive health, dignity, and prevention. Because we want to live positively, with dignity, without discrimination, like Salome alluded to, healthy, and then we prevent. Because for us, it is treatment with the positives. Measles is treated with a measles vaccine, is prevented with a measles vaccine. So if you really need to stop the tap, we are just a few people, 1.5 million Ugandans. I think if we put all the effort, we can stop. And we are not saying stop the other prevention methods, no. But we are saying we can stop the tap if we target resources to those most at risk, where there is high burden, those high risk places that have not been targeted. The criminalized populations, the people with disabilities, people in islands, people in hills. You saw Bududa in the flood areas, people who have been thrown off the streets. Where are they? Those who had their medication in those places that have been demolished or which had floods, how are they coping? So our role is look for all those who are vulnerable, who are HIV positive and need support. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Selfcare.
Thank you so much. Madam Team Salome, I know you're the chair, you're board chairperson of Nafophanu. I know you've moved this journey for some time. Can you tell us your experience between when you got to know you're HIV positive, how you've managed to live, and how you've used that story to create or to build awareness about reducing HIV stigma? How have you dealt with that?
Thank you so much. First of all is letting everybody know that, HIV is just one of those diseases like any other disease. And there is no need to stigmatize a person living with HIV. So the story is enabling people to, first of all, finding out why is it that there is a stigma. Stigma is at many times as a result of lack of knowledge. There are those who believe that when you get HIV, it's because you are cursed, or you're dying tomorrow, or there is no cure, or there's transmission is going on. So the lack of information among people also contributes to the stigma and discrimination. So as an individual, I think I've been at the forefront of pushing for elimination of stigma and discrimination, knowing that once you stigmatize people, they go underground. And when they go underground, they are not coming for services, they are not able to speak, they are not able to help others. And in such a manner, we then continue to transmit HIV. So letting people know that HIV is here, this is how people contract HIV. The treatments we have are good. Actually, treatment in itself is prevention. That is what people don't know. And that's why as a forum, we are very serious on commodity security. Commodity security means that we should have those who are enrolled in care having their ARVs delivered and being able to take these medicines. We don't want issues of stockouts, because once the virus is cleared from your bloodstream, then you are able to produce a baby that is negative. You are able to stay with your discordant couple where you are HIV positive and your husband or your wife is HIV negative. So we want to make sure that actually we leave the talk, that we make sure we eliminate anything that will continue transmitting. And in this we do through advocacy. We collect data on commodity security throughout the country and share that here we have had stockouts and we call for your help. Here we are having a lot of stigma and discrimination. In these particular districts in Teso, Karamoja, the stigma is so high that people hide medicine in the bush. In this particular area in Bukedia and other places, husbands are beating wives just for going to to get medication and of course, if you're pregnant, they'll tell you come with your spouse. And when you tell the spouse that we have been invited so that we can be supported to have a negative baby, then you are beaten. So you walk the talk and I walk the talk. I preach non-stigma and discrimination. I preach adherence. I preach self-care. Self-care is because we know, so there are individuals who become, very depressed. Then you're also not adhering to medication. At times you go to drinking. You've drunk, you're so drunk, you can't remember to take the medication. Or you are drinking so heavily and there's no appetite, you're not eating. So you have, I encourage all Ugandans who are living positively, one, to live a positive life. Take care of yourself, clean water, nutrition. I know Pabon say, you see, nutrition is very expensive. No, even mukene is nutrition. Mukene and sweet potatoes is very nutritious. You don't need meat. Very nice greens, well cooked, steamed is nutritious. So let's be aware of those things that are good to make sure that people continue to live in positive lives. I know there are those who are also, many of us are born again or belong to the different faith, and our God, our God in the different faith is what has kept many of us. Having a living hope is very important. That despite this, despite me walking in this valley and the shadow of darkness, there is still hope, and indeed hope comes. Medication in itself is hope. So in conclusion, preaching what I practice. One, accepting your situation. Two, making sure you're not selfish, but also think of others, help everybody around you. Three, throughout the country, make sure that there's no stigma and discrimination, there's no domestic violence, there are no other human rights violations, especially ensuring that commodity security is ensured for all, that everybody can take medication. And why are people not taking medication at times? There's a time we had what we call the bitter pill. That pill was bitter. That really, you'd see, you are trying to force a child, but even you yourself, it is very difficult. So yeah, we have to continue advocating for medicines that are user-friendly, lesser pills. We call it the pill burden. The lesser the pills, the better, especially for the younger people. In schools, making sure that the school nurses, the matrons, they don't stigmatize learners, because we now have very many children who are born with HIV. At the places of work, bosses are able to allow juniors to go pick medication, and when they are not well, to recover and return to work. So this is a personal advocacy that I do, but also we do as a forum, that we ensure that we live by example, we destigmatize, but also encourage positive living and eliminate stigma, discrimination, and lack of knowledge among the populace, so that they are able to know more about HIV and to be part of a solution. Thank you.
Okay, Reverend, back to you. I remember actually one of the things that I remember very well where the story of Stigma hit me hard.
I am not hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
No.
Okay, Flavia, can you hear me?
Are you hearing me yourself?
Yes, I can hear both of you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Reverend.
Yeah. There was an interruption when my phone received the call and the volume got lost. So I don't know what I can do.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Not yet.
Reverend,
I can hear you faintly.
Okay, Flavia, you help me text Reverend and tell him to join again using the same link. Now, Flavia, over to you as we continue here. As we continue here, I remember my story with HIV personally. When I tested the bitter pill of Stigma came when I was working at a certain medical center in Wakiso called Narik, and there was this guy, or there was this boy who was there was this boy who was HIV positive. I think he was studying at a certain school. Was it called Chitovu? I think it's something called Chitovu on Masaka Road. A very brilliant boy, very bright boy who had passed his P7 so well and actually got admitted. I think when one of the nurses got to know that he was taking drugs, they made it an issue with the parents to the extent the mother really had to call me crying to intervene. They wanted him to have like a personal doctor to make sure that if he got issues, a personal doctor would drive in immediately to help. Reverend, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So that really hit me as a person, because it showed that even the so-called nurses or school nurses didn't understand that actually children or students with HIV can live a normal life. To the extent, the school wanted him to have a medical emergency doctor for him to attend the school. Now, for people watching in and listening to me, you may think because you're negative, HIV stigma is far from you. Now, this was me. This was a little boy. Actually, ended up becoming like a daddy to that. I ended up calling the school and telling them, yes, I am a medical personnel. That is my relative, and I want to be the emergency doctor if you want to put it that. But I gave them a lesson. I told them, someone being HIV positive does not mean they need an emergency doctor. No. We just need to support them to help them take their drugs. Otherwise, we have 1.5 million people today living with HIV in Uganda. But we cannot apportion a doctor to each of them. We don't have 1.5 medical doctors to apportion one to every one of them. And so that also goes to workplaces. These are people who have just like any other disease. All we need is to support them. If they need some little time to have their drugs, if they are not feeling so well, some of these drugs are so strong on their health that sometimes of the hour after taking them, they may not be as productive. We just need to understand them and support them, but not to treat them just like a form of disability, that this is a form of disability because they have. Because I'm telling you, you may practice stigma knowingly or unknowingly, but I want to assure you, this world, the clock is round. There could be someone that you love that may be treated in the same way, and that is going to hit you hard. Reverend,
Yes.
Uganda has 1.5 million people having HIV today, and about 2000, I think 2000, about a certain number, 28,000, are not yet into either on drugs or into organizations like these for people who are on drugs or people that have accidentally started treatment. I want to ask, who are the main communities that Nafophanu is serving? And how do you reach out to these people? And lastly, how do you empower them?
Nafophanu is, we have said, is a member organization. We have district networks. The district networks have lower networks that are able to connect to the local community level. And at the community level, you will find congregations of faith, the mosques, the temples, the churches. You will find their markets, you will find their schools, you'll find their health centers. So all those are networking grounds for our members to share accurate information, especially on tackling stigma. Tackling stigma that is actually driving the response now, because it's driving the epidemic, because we have enough science really to end this disease. If stigma was to be defeated, God has given us enough science to prevent new infections, to prolong lives, up to old age. Like me now, you can see, I knew I was positive when I was a young man of 32 years. Now I am 60. I'm 60. 66, coming 67 in August. So I have lived longer with HIV than without. And but because of people, fortunately for me, I got a lot of support from friends, from my family, from my faith communities, and my doctors, the health service providers, and the networks like Nafophanu have helped. So our members, you have asked a question, whom do we work with? We work with all those places where your life matter. We start with your family and friends to make sure that they understand what is going on. If I am a person living with HIV, my family, my friends know what is happening, and I ask them to learn something about AIDS and know how to manage me. The second one is my places of work, places of residence, places of education or business. They should also know something about AIDS. Then we have the employers also, and then we have the health communities. Right now we have what we call community-led monitoring and evaluation of services, to make sure that they know and understand and appreciate that measuring the satisfaction of the person living with HIV is as crucial as any other indicator should be. Then we have government. Government is a critical service provider, is a critical partner in our health and well-being when it comes to multiplying safe behaviors, access and adherence to treatment, testing and counseling, and also empowering those who are positive. So all networks around us are critical. And as you have heard from Flavia and Salome, our interventions have really helped. That now we are tending towards zero transmission, zero stigma, and zero death, if the stigma can be dealt with, particularly because it's the one now limiting testing, it's the one limiting disclosure, it's the one limiting adherence, but also where communities are criminalized, it limits initiation of services, even when the services are present. So I want to add my voice on what Flavia has said, that focusing on the dimensions of stigma, the 5 sources of stigma, is a critical contribution to Nafophanu if we are empowered and engaged and given space and resources to do work, especially like now we don't have a home. If we can have be helped to have a home so that we coordinate eliminating stigma from its 5 areas. One, the association of AIDS with quick death. We have to eliminate that by giving our testimonies, by sharing research, by interrogating policies and laws. Number 2, associating a person living with HIV with contagion. We have, for example, laws that have been built with that principle in mind. and they have talked about deliberate transmission, and we have asked them how deliberate is deliberate. Are you mixing up failure to change behavior with refusing to change behavior? Then there is the other source of stigma that associates HIV with the immorality, with the social deviance, which explains why there is silence in born-again churches. I had you interrogate question that is it that in born-again churches we don't have HIV or what? But it is because of the theology within the faith born-again churches that the theology says you are what you confess. So if you are weak, say I'm strong. If you are poor, say I'm rich. If you are positive, say I'm negative. So we need to empower accompany people to not associate HIV with being morally loose or deviant, because that makes people shy away from saying I am positive and I need help. And then the last source of stigma has been how we communicate about AIDS, especially the very popular and simple message of ABC. Abstain if you can't abstain, be faithful. If you can't abstain and you can't be faithful, use condoms. And if you can't abstain and you can't be faithful and you can't use condoms, die. So the stigma is now when someone is positive, then people say, oh, he didn't abstain and he was not faithful and he didn't even use condoms. So we are there to explain that AIDS is not as simple as ABC. It has multi-dimensional issues, multi-level issues, multidisciplinary issues of how someone gets infected, and that there are structural drivers, there are biomedical sustainers of unhealthy behaviors, unsafe knowledge, unhealthy emotions, attitudes, and norms, but also the structural drivers of harmful beliefs and habits, laws and policies that, if they were changed, would tackle this disease quickly, even before 2030.
Over to you. First of all, thank you so much for doing the grandparent role. We can see the grandson very happy. And yes, Flavia, what are some of the milestones that Nafophanu has been able to achieve so far in your journey since inception now?
So thank you so much. In light of systems and structures, we have been able to have representation at all districts. We have national networks, and we are also part of very many technical working groups, steering committees of governments, of partners. And I will start by the structure that Nafophanu is a member of the National Partnership Forum, which is by act of government, Uganda AIDS Commission formation. People living with HIV are one of the 14 HIV response partners or self-coordinating entities that we coordinate constituency of people with HIV A moment, please.
Yeah, that is grandparent roles. But again, we want to thank everyone that is watching us tonight or this morning. We are really so blessed to have the kind of people that we are having this morning. This is a group of strong men and women living with HIV for so many years. We've had the testimony of Reverend Cannon sharing with us that he's lived with HIV more years than he lived without. I think this is a very powerful statement that actually should be printed out and put on so many billboards. If we dealt with HIV/AIDS in this manner, where people who are positive actually come out to speak that we are positive, but the treatment or the drug is helping us, then we are able to handle this problem. Remember, the U equals you. If people who are positive come out, they take their medicine, they are there to treatment, then they are going to be in a position to actually reach that stage where maybe their viral load has gone so low that they are not able to transfer or to transmit this disease from one person to another. So really, to me, this is a great story. These are groups that desire. These are groups that should be supported. These are groups that government and all the other key players should be looking out for. Because if we empower, if we look out for these 1.5 million people currently living with HIV in Uganda, we put them on medication, we support them. I'm telling you, the goal of ending HIV and of stopping new infection, but also HIV-related deaths by 2030 is going to be more achievable. My role this morning has been to bring this team to share to you. Your role is to transfer or to share this message with everyone that is within your contact. You don't know who needs to hear this, because we have a lot of people that are currently living with the virus but fear to come out to speak because they fear stigma and related things. Yes, Flavia, you were still telling us about the success and the story of Nafophanu ever since you started it. You're muted.
Apologies. We have formed structures from national to district, and when we had sufficient resources, we had actually gone up to sub-county. But even we are saying we are formed, we didn't form. We have brought together groups and associations, support groups, clubs of people living with HIV. So we also have trained a big community of people living with HIV with the resource to facilitate access to treatment. So Nafophanu is directly intertwined with facilitating the right to access treatment and related services, and we have ensured that all facilities, together with partners, have expert patients, we have mentor mothers. The government has been supporting the YAPs, the young people living with HIV leaders. We have mentor fathers, we have expert patients, we have community linkage facilitators. We have built a strong resource of community health workers, the unsung public service or public servants who do a lot of work from passion, from lived experience, from the fact that they have experienced it and they think another person should be supported. So we can ably tell you that if you ask me for a person now, if we say Kapere Byong, you ask me from Yumbe, you ask me from Kisoro, you ask me from Kalangala, I will ably get you a person at a facility level where there is art, where they are supporting from within our database. Because I have a database of all the district coordination, and all the district coordinators have a database of all the facilities and who is working there from each sub-county and from each health facility. We have created a structure that in a matter of minutes or a few hours, we can reach a facility and know what is happening there. We have also ensured that we follow and monitor the quality of services to the extent that I told you when there is a stock out in a facility, I'm aware in the next maybe 30 minutes, somebody will send me a text to say there is a stock out. And immediately we will link with either the facility head, we will link with the regional referral support, or we will link with the Ministry of Health to see where the problem is. And we have done this diligently through our coalition of advocates for antiretroviral treatment, which we have grown into the coalition of advocates for life-saving treatment and medication. And this change in the name has come because of the funding cuts and the fact that at that moment, it was no longer only ARVs, but because we have also other diseases that are coming that require life-saving, hypertension, mental health, cancers. So we are trying to see how to facilitate access to life-saving medication and other related services. We have also been part of the development of major national strategies. Every year, we are part of the development of the national HIV strategy, the TB strategy, the malaria strategy, the equity strategy, even for other ministries, departments, and agencies. We also have been recognized. We are invited on a regular as Nafophanu, but also as our members, to go to different institutions, to the religious leaders, to schools, to talk about HIV. And no wonder we see a decline in HIV prevalence in this country, from the very highs of 18% in the 90s to now the 4.9%. I think we have done a significant part on our side to say here we are positive, learn from us, we are sharing our experience, we can live. And the other story I'm saying is that we have mobilized women and girls to access mother-to-child transmission prevention and treatment services. We continue to spread the gospel that if you're HIV positive, please get the service. And unlike in the past, we used to have only a PMTCT, which was looking at protecting the baby. But we went on to say, no, look here. You cannot, the baby would be born and in 2 years they have died, the mother has died, and the baby remains an orphan and becomes a problem to a burden to the community. But later on, it was understood that you need to protect the mother first to be able to live a healthy life. Conception happens, they deliver, HIV, protected children. We understand that a number of babies, 4,700, are still being delivered, but that is a drop from the very high infection rates that we had in the early years. And this has taken us to go. We are part of the Ministry Prevention of Mother-Child Transmission Technical Working Group, and we have been part of the Munonye campaign, working with adolescent girls and young women to ensure that they are in care, that we look for those who are stigmatized, we support those who are finding it difficult to disclose through our networks, through our champions, through our systems and structures. And we have been engaging in the development of all those policies, the art policies, the counseling policies. We are into the non-communicable diseases, even in the budget. We have been advocating for budget over the years. And every year we engage the ministry, we engage the district, we engage the parliament, we engage the Ministry of Finance, we engage at global level. And I would like to say that through some of our members from these groups, the Canons, Mire Katana, Lydia Mungerera, these ones have negotiated, and some of them, like Mire Katana, was at the center of ensuring that we have the global fund now. So it's not that we are just doing nothing. We are organized. We are living with HIV. We have reached your homes and your families through as individuals. We have reached your institutions as Nafophanu. We have reached your people through our support groups, through the church, through the liturgy, the religious leaders living with and affected by HIV. We have reached the schools through the PSA. We were the first people, if I recall, Nafophanu was one of those first partners that were brought on board to go to the different regions to train the teachers on HIV response. And we brought that different angle from not from just telling people what to do, but to say, we are here, we are positive, we know you are there. How can you be supported? So how can you be supported? And that's how we have had various groups of teachers coming together, religious leaders coming together, men, women, young people. And Nafophanu has supported. We also have an AIDS helpline, a support on AIDS and life telephone helpline. And is managed by people with HIV and mainly deals with those people with HIV, but even others can call. But the purpose is that the people with HIV who still have a face to lose can actually call and get support. So the other bit we have done is that we have continuously done research, and the particular research we have been doing the HIV stigma index. And we do recall that the latest one, which we did in 2019, indicated that we have, with our support and others learning from what we are doing, that families have now stopped the major decline, or the visible decline in stigma is seen at family level. In other places, it still is, but there has been a tremendous decline in stigma that used to be in the family. And for us, that's very, very important. If the stigma is reduced at family, then it means it will spread to the entire population, because charity begins at home. We have also been part of the national leadership in hosting advocacy campaigns for funds, for improved services, for working together. And we have seen a lot of support from the likes of the AIDS Commission. We have seen support from the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Gender. And, you know, they really recognize our role. And only yesterday, when we were discussing in the Global Fund country application round 8, Dr. Stavia kept emphasizing that without working with the people who are affected, who are directly affected by diseases, we won't be able to hit our targets, our country targets, because we are the people. If we don't take medication, then the country misses the targets. If we take our medication, then country sustains the progress for targets. And we have also made sure that the women with HIV and the general women population are going to antenatal care when they are pregnant. And that is one, and no wonder we see a decline in mother-to-child transmission, but also broadly contributing the broader picture and indicators of the country, that we have less mothers dying in labor and less babies and newborns dying, because we have been introduced to, we have introduced our communities to say, let's go. And then also what we have done as a community and a public service that is not paid and recognized and barely, recognized. The people living with HIV have been an example in family planning, introduction family planning, nutrition. We have been teaching about TB. We have been teaching about non-communicable diseases, because we have been there. Being with HIV did not stop other diseases. So we have been telling, we are a resource in the community that is already circulated with information, that we are a one-stop encyclopedia of information that needs to be tapped, not to be lost. And so when we support Nafophanu by contributing to a home, we are further ingraining the resource that we have created over the years. That is the intergenerational, and will be transferred and sustain the capacity, the knowledge into the communities.
Flavia, before you go any further, I don't know if Reverend, are you there? Okay. Reverend, what are some of the challenges? As you speak now, Nafophanu has no home. And I mean, to me, it is shame. To me, it is shame to see that an organization that is bringing together all the small organizations that have to do with people living with HIV has no home. I mean, I've seen Uganda being part of so many things that I consider less important. I've seen people do car wash for some of things whose even vision are not clear. I've seen people raise money for events. One is called what? There is one in normally in Ginger called what? What there is that one. I mean, I've seen some people, Parliament passing out extended budgets in bonuses. I've seen musicians being given money. I've seen a lot of people in this political campaign being money dashed to them, even when there is no proper accountability. How comes Nafophanu has no home? To me, it is shame to every Ugandan watching in right now. Because I'm telling you, if we neglect these 1.5 million people that gave out their life, that came out to say, hey, we are positive, if we give up on them, if we don't come to help them, this 1.5 can become 3 million in just no time. And before we know it, then the goal of 2030 becomes unrealistic. But away from actually with the home and the rest, Reverend, what are some of the biggest challenges the organization is facing today, especially sustaining this beautiful achievement that Flavia shared, but also the big dream ahead of you?
The biggest challenge is to sustaining engagement and consolidating partnerships. Like you have said, why are there those gaps that Nafophanu doesn't have resources that she needs to do her work effectively? But it comes back again from people with a stigmatized condition, being looked at as people who need help rather than being partners. So the biggest challenge would be how do we turn the emotion of disgust and disgruntlement against people living with HIV/AIDS into the emotion of love and support that is fundamental to say, Mikwano Jaffe, these people who are positive, are ours, are part of us, are us, actually, are us. And so, if it is faith communities, let's mobilize money. Like now, we are coming 3rd June. There should be a collection around 3rd June to make sure that it's not a mudiro. Then government can also contribute. We are grateful that already government has really started to make this seriously. First of all, by giving us an alternative home to operate from, but also making initial steps to contribute. The Ministry of Local Government has made a significant contribution. So it's really it's just that everything has its own time, and the time of changing from the way we look at people with HIV as those people about to see Kauka Kasirim, those people who are indisciplined, those people who are making us suffer, should now change. And I think that's why, for us in the Friends of Canon Gideon Foundation, which is a national network that is part of Nafophanu, we are focusing now on the Triple Love campaign. The Triple Love campaign: love God, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So just to remind people that if you were positive, how would you have wanted to be treated? If you were nearly falling into infection tonight, there are likely, as we speak, there are people who are going to be infected today. There are children who are going to be born positive today. So if you were put in that situation, how would you want to be helped? How would you feel if people would stigmatize you, shame you, discriminate against you, exclude you. And so that's the emotions and the thinking we want to build to strengthen Nafophanu, but also the partners with Nafophanu to say, let's look at people who are living with HIV/AIDS as critical assets in the remaining 60 months of ending AIDS. Let's not look at them as victims that need our to be excluded or to be blamed. No, let us look at them as critical partners, critical friends, critical members of the struggle, champions of hope, champions of love, champions of faith that are part of the struggle. You know, Mukuru, that Uganda has 99.95% population that is religious. 99.95. That tells you that we have 99.95% of Ugandans that are positive of faith, and they are in 99.95% of homes and faith and communities that are of faith. That means even our government leaders, our ministry leaders, our professionals, 99.95% of them are persons of faith. So in Nafophanu, we are now looking at how now bring that, how do we harness that resource? How do we harness that resource of faith and love and hope to bring into bearing, number one, giving us a national home, residence where people know us. Number two, creating a critical consciousness around HIV to make sure that people know how AIDS is brought, how it spreads from one person to another, the structural sustainers, the biomedical facilitators of unsafe behaviors and so forth. Number three, how do we bring competence? How do we build competence to prevent new infections, to prevent stigma, to prevent new deaths? And number four and last, how do we create resilience that even when we have ended the AIDS by 2030, we still continue to end it beyond 2030? Because it's not just ending AIDS by 2030, it is also keeping in place the policies, the programs, the partnerships, the prayers, the praises, the budgets that make that will combine to make sure that the zero remains zero. The zero stigma remains zero stigma. The zero transmission remains zero transmission. It's going to be hard work. So our faith and hope and love are going to be real powerful resources for the long haul. The donors will get tired. Our pangisa, those who are hired, will get tired. But it is us, the people who are living with the virus, the families that are affected, the populations that are most at risk, that will continue keeping the fire burning. And remember also that it is not all countries that are equally impacted by AIDS. It is like, for example, in Africa, we have 20 countries that are driving probably like over 60% of new transmissions and deaths. So again, Nafophanu has a duty not just to work in her borders, but also to network with other people living with HIV, our partners in government, intergovernment, and non-government spaces, to say AIDS does not respect borders. You cannot end AIDS in Uganda without ending it in Kenya and DRC and Tanzania or South Africa, and then you think you have ended AIDS. If we have to end AIDS, it must be ended everywhere. Otherwise, it will come back to haunt us if we don't, if we really leave some injustice somewhere. That means that Nafopanu's work is not just centered on Uganda, but also at regional and global level.
Okay, thank you so much, Reverend. Solomi Atim, are you there? Okay. Flavia. Reverend,
Yes.
Reverend has mentioned a lot of challenges, and as we wind up, and I think he's mentioned everything to do with the challenges. I don't know if you have something to add on that, but as you add on that, and as we end, we head towards our conclusion of this discussion. Looking ahead, what is your vision for the future for Nafophanu and the communities that you serve? But before you come in, I want to turn to every Ugandan watching this great episode right now. Reverend has asked a question. How would you love to be treated if tomorrow you woke up HIV positive? Number two, to the Ministry of Lands, this is Nafophanu, a group of Ugandan responsible doing everything, fighting for a home. Of all the government land we have in Uganda, what do we lose if we gave them a piece to have their permanent home? I want to call upon the government of Uganda, where I come from as a Muganda, the Ssaabasajja Kabaka, and the Minister of Land, the Katikkiro, and all the good people in Uganda. We've given out lands to different causes before. We've given out 10 acres to FUFA to construct stadiums. This is a pertinent organization in the country. I've seen the Ssaabasajja of Kabaka so many times doing Kabaka birthday run, fundraising for people living with HIV, for sickle cell, and different other organizations that have been supportive to the masses. Kabaka coming out to encourage us to go for testing, to fight stigma. It is my humble call that we come through for Nafophanu at this particular time. They need a home. To friends of Mr.Selfcare initiative world over, the numbers and the contacts are rolling below my screen right now. I kindly ask you to come through. Let's come through for this organization. My friends in the US, my friend in Egypt, my friends in South Africa, my friends in the Arabic world, my friends back home in Uganda, I kindly ask you to come through for Nafophanu. The donation channels are through a merchant code on MTN. You dial *165*3# 5961272 5127. Then the second is on a merchant code on Airtel *185*9# 4366830. Or you go to Standard Chartered Bank, and their account is the National Forum of PLHA Networks in Uganda, with a shift code that is rolling, and an account number that is 0102815533980. The contact is running below the screen. If you've not seen them, just rewind the video. You're going to be, let's come through for this group of people. To my friends in FUFA and my friends everywhere, to the sponsors of this program and this channel, I kindly ask you to come through for this program. Indeed, we've supported a lot of things in Uganda. Let's do this one other thing for this noble organization. This is an umbrella that brings down all those associations that are doing something for people living with HIV, but also in prevention of the virus from being transmitted to other people. Flavia, how does the future look like for Nafophanu and the communities that you serve? Number one, without support, because funding is dwindling now. With even a home, I'm more worried than actually you people. I think you have so much hope, but me, when you told me that your permanent home is gone, I'm like, Nafophanu is gone too. So paint us a picture if we fail to get a home and sponsorship, how the situation is going to look like. But also, if generous people came on board, we get our home, we continue to fill the financial gaps. How does that picture also look like?
Thank you very much, Mr. Selfcare, and for those good questions. For me, there is nothing like we will fail to get a home. I think for us as persons living with HIV, we have thrived on hope, and we are positive that every challenge is a manageable opportunity, and it offers new options and new possibilities. So I would like to first of all thank the Uganda AIDS Commission that as soon as we had the funding cuts, we were awash with the disruptions of integration, of closure of the standalone clinics for TB and HIV. That also at the same time when Global Fund was reprioritizing, at the same time, we were told now the home is dilapidated, but the lease is ending, you have to vacate. That Uganda AIDS Commission was available to say, come and sit somewhere here, put your chair or one or two. Whenever you need to be physically here, you have an office, you have an address. And we thank you so much. And the Uganda AIDS Commission is under the President's office. We have had a lot of support over the years as Nafophanu. And we also acknowledge that Nafophanu was launched by the President himself in 2003. So he appreciates who we are, and we are only waiting to go through our Minister of Presidency to reach the President. And I believe once the President hears about our predicament and for the work we have done, he would not hesitate but to give us maybe land or even a house in Kololo or wherever it is he deems fit, so that we have a place to be, a home. And also to allay your fears, Mr. Host, Mr. Selfcare, is that we are not closed. It is only the structure that is not available, but we continue to work. We are even more visible than we were when we had the secretariat. I think we had become complacent, that because there are visits there, people are moving well, it is okay. But it only took one person, President Trump, to say, wake up, HIV is still here. You need to devise other means and modes of mobilization. And so we started this mobilization for resources for Nafophanu in 2003. But in 2004, there was a transition. I took over from Stella, 2004. And so during transition and getting a new staff, and also the board was transiting, there was a lag. So last year when we thought we would initially start, then we had the shutdown. And so it has been not easy from getting resources from our own, because we had thought that people living with HIV in Uganda would each contribute 1,000. And then if we are 500,000 of us contributing, the adults who have jobs, who have income. But we know the disruptions have affected also our income levels. Even the stakeholders would have given us, they have been cut short, they have no salary, they have no office. And it's not only Nafophanu which is closed. Many of our networks, for instance, the people living with HIV networks, we have Young Positives have closed. UNIPA is on the brink of closure. POMU has closed. They have not really closed, but they have moved to their homes to start work at home as we look for resources to have a new home where we can bring us back, so that we can have one-stop place. And our plan now is that we are believing, and we do know that AIDS Commission has supported us with space, and in many engagements we have moved together to Parliament to, we have done those engagements together to popularize this campaign. We do know that Uganda Communications Corporation gave us some little money, and we know if we went back they will still top up. We have received support from Ministry of Lands to do the building impression. Next time we should be able to be scrolling it here so that people see what we want to do. And we are going social enterprise programming. It's no longer about just charity, receiving without an income. We think we are planning to use our home which we are fundraising for, to have a place where we can have offices, halls which can be rented and bring in income and sustain our work. We are looking to have a counseling center and a children's wing, but we are also planning to have a restaurant and open, and also some games, outdoor game space where people can hire. And we also have a garden where we can have people having weddings, meetings. So it's not just coming to ask again like we have done. Like I said, we have been complacent, thinking that people will give us and will continue to be given. The moment now is to think about how to sustain Nafophanu. And we have also received some little money, not little, but some money to start a people living with HIV circle. We are yet to engage. We have started basic talks, but we would like to engage the Ministry of the Microfinance Support Center to support us and cooperatives to see how we start this cooperative so that we generate income, but also provide some resources to their members to do business and have a livelihood, because many livelihoods have been lost by the funding cuts. And also the shrinking funds definitely will affect all of us, our work and our livelihoods across the board and the spectrum. So we have got from our partners. Our patron was the first one to contribute into the basket. We have had a number of well-wishers who have pledged and committed. We have seen many contributing small, and we are believing that Pola we shall get the basket, and but we are also engaging and looking to see how we can engage UNAIDS and the private sector and engage. And UNAIDS has been also supportive to link us to the ED, Winnie, and we had a discussion, and she also has the way she has said she would look up to see how to support us. We have reached out to many dignitaries, Ministry of Finance. We are looking for them to also see how they can support us. We are reaching out to the private sector. We had StarTimes giving us an adverts for 1 month in October last year. People are happy and they are saying this is a worthy cause. So we are trying to build the momentum, and the momentum is now building into social media. So we have not been fully fledged out there, and we are also engaging the parliament. We would like to meet the speaker as soon as we can, so that we see how we can garner support, generate income from our members of parliament. If every member of parliament gave us 200,000 or 500,000, 500 of them, or maybe half of them 250, that would be sizable. But we also want to applaud the Ministry of Local Government, the Minister of Local Government, Mr. Honorable Raphael Magezi. He committed to ensure that in this financial year budget, all municipalities, cities, and districts, each of them is going to contribute 1 million next year, and we hope it can be sustained towards this cause. And we are also engaging the private sector and the different commissions and the different ministries, departments, agencies, to see how we can be supported. So if each of them contributed a bit of it, we are engaging also. We are engaging soon with the Interreligious Council of Uganda. We'd like to meet the Council of Presidents to share this. The church, the mosque, the Muslims, the Catholics, the SDA, they all have land. They could actually provide us land, or they could take us their congregations to get 1,000 from each congregant. And I think from their parishioners and their congregations, I think we would make a point. We are not asking like so much money at a go. We are saying, can we contribute small, and then ensure that we generate a sizable income to have a home that is going to provide us
Flavia,
yes.
As you conclude and as we come to closing remarks, when are we organizing a run for Nafophanu's home? That is one reason I should come back to Uganda to be part of that run.
I think
I'm a soccer player and a sportsman, and I think organizing a run for Nafophanu home will be a worthy cause. I think it is something that can also help us, people who believe in sports and whatever, to put something on I mean, to give something little for that cause, but also to spread more awareness about HIV/AIDS.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We have very many days coming forth. We have the International Labor Day, and I said we are public servants. The care labor we offer is undervalued and recognized and paid, and that is a day we can do a run, although it is very near. We have the International Candlelight Memorial Day, which is happening 17th May. Also around that date, we could also rally and do something around. But before that, I want to applaud KCCA Football Club, Madame Alicia. She allowed us to engage, and we were supposed to have a friendly match to the same cause, but it's coincided with the launch of Hoima Stadium, and so they couldn't, say they had to go meet the president. But they had already offered us space that we can use their football club to garner and to amplify. And then we also had our annual World AIDS Day. We had a pre-World AIDS Day prayer day for people living with HIV, our families and partners. And that is where the Minister of Local Government actually pledged and committed to follow up with the local government to ensure that these resources are given to the people in Nafophanu. However, we also have the Feel Retired Day, which happens on 17th October. We also have the World AIDS Day on 1st of December. We have International Human Rights Day on the 10th of December. So we have many days we can organize and make sure it is systematic and we run. But we can also, we are starting now, and this is how we are starting to popularize both local and globally and ensure that we have people buying in. By the time we go to run, we have already made people understand why we need a home, and we are only saying there is no for us, because I will just give you one analogy. My father in 1997, when I told him I was HIV positive, he told me, if you are lucky, you will reach the medication. There has been diseases and there are trials and vaccines, and lucky my dad was educated. He was a graduate. So he told me, just hang in there. And by the time he passed on in 2026, I had lived about 2016, I had lived about 13 years on ARVs. So for us, we live on hope. We believe in being positive. We believe in the supernatural who is taking care of us. Ebola came, COVID came, the Trump cuts have happened, but we are here. We are here to stay, and we have been supported during this time by different partners to survive and do our work. And so we believe the people, starting from the president to his ministers, to his cabinet, to the legislation and just judiciary, and the technical teams and the communities we work with, we serve, we believe we shall have a home. And yes.
As our time is running out, can you give us your closing remarks for today's program?
So thank you so much, viewers, and for tuning in. This series is going to happen every 2 months, every 2 weeks, every twice a month. So we call upon you to continually tune in to this channel, Mr.Care. And we are also thanking you for supporting us through thick and thin. We want to thank Kagifo for hosting our property right now where it is. And we are thanking Uganda AIDS Commission for hosting us. TASO for supporting our program, SEHAD, Uganet, Uganda Cares, all those of you who have been with us all this time. But we are saying, please check the merchant codes. They are screening on they are live. They are screening. We have the MTN, we have Airtel, and we have the bank accounts. Please, anything, even if it is 100 shillings, please put it on that account. One by one, we shall make a bundle and we shall have a home and ensure we sustain the HIV prevention, reduce mother to child, continue to ensure that we live longer lives, but also prevent further transmission of HIV. I thank you so much, my chair, Salome, and Canon Gideon for coming at short notice, but also I want us to pray for our own patron, Professor Nantuli. I was supposed to be here today, but he's going for a minor surgery. Let us put him in our prayer, and we pray that we continue to engage and talk about HIV, see how we can prevent transmission and manage for those who are HIV positive. I thank you, Mr. Selfcare.
Thank you
Happy
so much.
weekend and Palm
Thank you.
Sunday tomorrow.
Okay. Reverend Gideon, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Reverend, what are your closing remarks today, especially to young people that have been watching on both living and without, as we go into the Easter period, but also as we conclude this program today?
Oh, thank you. To young people, they are in three groups. There are young people living with HIV. There are young people who are negative, and we would implore them to remain negative. Those who are positive, to adopt positive prevention strategies. And then there are those who are in discordant relationships. They also should make sure that they are following the rules of the medical service providers. The biggest group is the people who are positive but don't know they are positive. Those need prayers, but also they need our practical engagement to enable them know. So in one way, there are things that young people can do. It's in their hands, the safe behaviors and practices. But also there are things that their families and communities and country, state will have to do to enable them. Because many of them don't refuse to change their behaviors to safe ones. Many of them fail. And they fail because AIDS is not just a disease, but a symptom also of the things that are not going well in the way we relate, in the way we govern ourselves, in the way we lead ourselves as communities, as societies, and as international community. So my Easter call is, let's maximize love for God, love for neighbor, as we love ourselves, in three vital areas. One, building our consciousness around ending AIDS, building our competencies, that is from knowing to doing things that can help end AIDS and its drivers, and then building our resilience so that those who are positive remain taking their medicines well to non-transmission levels, and those who are negative remain negative, so that we reach together on ending AIDS and achieving a Uganda that is divinely peaceful and united, AIDS-free and prosperous. God bless you.
Thank you so much. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to remind all our viewers that we are going to be here every twice a month, and we are going to have a group from this wonderful organization, Nafophanu. The goal is to enlighten about HIV/AIDS, but also the role of such organization in making 2030 HIV/AIDS goal a reality. As we come to the end of this powerful conversation, we want to thank sincerely all our panelists for sharing your insights, leadership, and lived experiences that truly bring life to what it means to be part of the home of champion, that is Nafophanu. This morning, we've not only heard about Nafophanu, but we've felt it. We have seen how community voices, resilience, and collective action can actually transform the lives of people living with HIV across Uganda. We have been reminded that behind every intervention is a story, and behind every story is a life worth fighting for. But for our journey not to end here, the work continues, and this continues actually with all of us, those living with, but also without HIV. Nafophanu remains committed to strengthening communities, fighting stigma, and ensuring that every person living with HIV can live with dignity, hope, and support. However, this mission requires partnerships, solidarity, and sustainable support from individuals, institutions, and well-wishers like you and me watching in right now. I therefore invite you not just to watch this episode, whichever day or time you're going to watch it, but to take action and support the work that Nafophanu is doing. The donation options are running right down your screen below. Copy it, take your time. Even 500 coin will be a big significant or will cause a big effect to the cause that Nafophanu is yearning for right now. Share this message with everyone in your contact. Stand with the champions, because every contribution, every voice, and every act of solidarity helps to sustain this impact. From all of us at Nafophanu and everyone at Mr.Selfcare Initiative, we thank you for being part of this conversation, and we thank you for believing in the power of a community-led change. Together, we remain the home of champion. Together, we remain Mr.Selfcare Initiative. We believe that we are stronger, louder, and committed to transforming lives. I want to wish you a blessed Saturday. I want to wish you a lovely Easter period. But remember, above all, let's share the love and the true meaning of Easter by being part of this conversation and being part of this donation campaign. From everyone in our studios, I want to wish you a lovely weekend. May God bless you and have yourself a blessed period. Bye.
Bye.
Owaaye ggwe obadde okimanyi tosobola okukeberwa n'okujjanjabibwa endwadde z'ekikaba ku bwereere wano Kalungu Wellness Center. Ye obulidde bulungi, basobola okukebera n'okujjanjaba endwadde z'ekikaba ku bwereere. Jjangu nange nkulage wekiri ekyangu nga waakatuuka osookera wano ku reception n'oyingira n'otuula ne weewandiisa. Tulina abasawo baffe abalungi abakwaniriza n'omukwano omungi nga gw'olina kola kimu kyakukkakkana n'olinda kye bagamba ekiddamu. Weetaaga omuntu w'okwogera naye. Tulina bakansala baffe abalungi abajja okuwuliriza ate tebajja kusalira musango gwonna. N'ekirala bijja kuba byakyama okumanya embeera y'omubiri gwo. Oli mu bwanvu kyenkana ki? Ozitobwa kyenkana ki? Byonna babikola mu bwangu ate nga tebiruma. Ng'otuusa okwekebeza akawuka akaleeta mukenenya n'endwadde ez'obukaba zonna bikolebwa wano ate bayita mu bwangu nga tebirudde nawo. Ate bw'oba weetaaga obujjanjabi, abasawo baffe bakuwa obujjanjabi obusinga nga bamaze okukebera ate ku bwereere. Kya bwereere ate nga bakola na mukwano. Tambula yadde okuswala kwonna wano Kalungu Wellness Center. Mujje baabajjanjabi.
Tuyitibwa Kalungu Wellness Center.